when the ammonium nitrate subject matter expert arrived yesterday, and I said, okay, I got him off to the side, and I said, shoot me straight. If you'd been here at 8 o'clock Monday night, what would we have done different? He said, absolutely nothing. He said, I get a little bit emotional about it, but I'm confident in those decisions and proud of the work that our folks have done this week.
That was Winston-Salem Fire Chief Trey Mayo saying how proud he was of crews fighting the Weaver fertilizer plant fire. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Stacy Spivey and Eric Chilton.
Wow, some emotional and powerful words there from Chief Mayo. He said overnight the danger of the explosion at the fire site had greatly diminished. Thank goodness. We're getting a first look inside the fire site where just over a dozen firefighters were able to survey the area today. Chief Mayo said enough ammonium nitrate had burned off for crews to start cooling operations. 2 unstaffed ground monitors were used overnight to cool burning piles at the site. Crews were also able to get onto a rail car containing a load of ammonium nitrate. Chief Mayo said the rail car did not sustain any heat and is not susceptible to a chemical reaction. Chief Mayo said even though the threat of explosion has lowered, leaders are not in a position to end evacuations.
We understand that it is inconvenient to be displaced from your home. We understand the costs associated with eating out and staying in hotels, and it's just, we all feel safe. Safest at home, that's where we want to be. We recognize that, and we want folks to get back as quickly as possible.
Now, these are 3 things that we've learned from today's most recent update. The rain has been helpful, but also caused some problems. Environmental officials are now worried about runoff, specifically near Mills and Muddy Creeks. The rain has kept smoke close to the ground, which is causing visibility issues for firefighters, and we still don't know when evacuation orders will be lifted.
While we're learning more about this fire, we're also hearing from the Weaver Company. WFOY News 2's Amber Lake joins us live. Amber, walk us through this new information.
Lauren, the press conference just ended here in Winston-Salem, and I think one of the biggest points that we can take away from this is the fact that the threat of an explosion has diminished overnight. Therefore, crews are on scene right now as we speak, fighting this fire. Now, the reason for that, Chief Trey Mayo said, is the fact that it was determined that enough of the ammonium nitrate had been consumed by fire for crews to get in there and start the cooling operations. Having firefighters on the property is a positive thing to note. Chief Mayo said that there are about a dozen firefighters on scene at one time, and crews are rotated out about every 4 hours. Now, the big thing that we've been keeping an eye on this entire operation is the amount of ammonium nitrate on scene, as well as one of the rail cars that was estimated to have about 90 tons alone on it. Chief Mayo said crews have been able to reach that car and evaluate its current state.
It had not sustained any heating and was not susceptible to any sort of runaway chemical reaction. The product that we found inside was dry, white, and granular, as we would expect ammonium nitrate to be in its stable state.
Now, this is all good news. One thing we're having to keep an eye out for is the air quality in the area of the fire, as well as keeping the remaining ammonium nitrate cool. The rain has helped that. Chief Mayo said any sort of water application is a positive thing, and the volume of the product on scene has been reduced because of the rain. Now, we are still unsure, though, when people will get back to their homes and businesses. That's still up in the air at this time.
Thank you, Amber. Environmental officials have stressed that this ammonium nitrate is not at a level where it will cause bodily harm. They say at best it will be irritating if you breathe it in, or it could irritate your skin. That's why they're urging everyone in the evacuation zone to stay inside with their doors and windows closed. It's also recommended you avoid exercising outdoors if inhaled ammonium nitrate can cause coughing, sore throat, and shortness of breath. Anyone with respiratory issues should be extra cautious. If it gets on your skin, you'll notice redness, itching, and maybe some pain. The dangers of this chemical force authorities to create a 1-mile evacuation zone around the plant. Right now, it's unclear when evacuees can return to their homes. Executives at Weaver plan to help families displaced. WFOY News 2's Jenna Kurzina spoke with company officials. Jenna, what did they tell you today?
Lauren, the company says that they met with all 36 employees of the plant today and that they are going to be paying them for a month, as well as trying to help them find other jobs. Now, this plant was built back in 1940 and has been here in Winston for more than 80 years. While the plant is working with current employees, they also want to help those who have been displaced because of the fire. They are going to be donating $100,000 and are working with the city and mayor to get a better idea of all the organizations that have been helping. But because this is a family-owned business, the company says they are extremely heartbroken.
When I got the call Monday night, the first thing I thought of was how bad is it? And then as I was on the way to the plant and I started hearing it's gone, my heart really sank. And it's taken a long time. Even now, it hasn't fully set in to how bad the loss is.
The company is working with the fire department and city officials as this investigation continues. I did ask the company spokesperson if they have had any word yet from the fire department on cause of the fire, and they said they are also waiting to hear what that might have been.
All right, let's talk about this forecast. How would it affect the situation there? One thing we're looking at, obviously, when you get rain like this and there's a fire involved, it does help, but the winds are probably a bigger problem. Winds coming in out of the south to southwest, and even though that's a warmer flow for us, so good for temperatures, that still will spread that smoke back up to the north and to the east from that. And they mentioned too that the rain kind of keeping the smoke at ground level, which makes it difficult for them to see in that area. That will continue, unfortunately. This rain heavy at times, and really from right over Winston and maybe Kernersville west, that's where we're seeing the heavier shower activity now. If you zoom in a little bit closer, you can see right around Moxville and Davie County, we're getting a heavier shower. All of this streaming southwest to northeast as the entire system moves on to the east. Notice once you get back toward parts of Kentucky and north, that is snow, and a lot of snow for folks back up to the north and to the east. Gets a little volatile in the deep south. We see some thunderstorm watches and warnings down that way. We're not expecting that for tomorrow. We'll watch though, but winds will start to pick up, we think, on your Friday as well. A little more than a half an inch to a little more than that. Winston-Salem about 6/10 of an inch there, and in some areas in our mountain and foothill communities already had an inch or so of rain. This will move through, and you can see it'll be right over us by tomorrow morning. That's at 6 a.m. So your morning commute's going to be pretty wet and difficult. The next low moves by Friday afternoon, and then that colder air will start to sink in. In just a little bit, we'll talk about how cold we'll get heading into the weekend, and what does next week look like too. We have all that coming up.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Guilford County Commissioner's first black chairwoman, Carolyn Coleman, was laid to rest this afternoon. Today's service honored Coleman's life as a public servant. The service was held at New Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Greensboro. Coleman was known for her civil rights activism and being an advocate for change. She died last week at 79 years old. President Biden says the leader of ISIS was killed overnight during a U.S. raid in Syria. The leader was killed by one of his own bombs when the raid began. President Biden said the U.S. opted to go after the ISIS leader with a special forces raid rather than a missile strike to prevent civilian casualties. U.S. helicopters landed near the home and attacked. One of the aircraft experienced mechanical problems and was destroyed not far from the raid. U.S. forces were able to safely evacuate to other helicopters. This U.S. raid is the largest U.S. military operation in Syria since 2019, when the previous ISIS leader was killed. A former student at a private college in Virginia was arraigned Wednesday on murder charges after he returned to his alma mater and killed 2 campus officers. Police identified 27-year-old Alexander Campbell as the shooter who opened fire at Bridgewater College on Tuesday. Campbell's mother said her son has mental health problems and his actions could not be prevented by anyone or any intervention. Police have not released a motive for the shooting. Campbell was a student at Bridgewater from 2013 to 2017. Former Miss USA and Charlotte native Chesley Christ's mother has opened up on her daughter's death. April Simpkins said Chesley was dealing with high-functioning depression and hadn't shared her problems with anyone until shortly before her death. Police confirmed Christ died by suicide in New York on Sunday. She was a former North Carolina attorney who advocated for social justice. Her family asked people to make a donation to Dress for Success in place of flowers. Dress for Success was an organization close to Chesley's heart. We'll be right back.
Throughout Black History Month, WFOY News 2 is highlighting the work of Black leaders and their impact here in the Triad. Francis Almanor is a respiratory therapist with Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. I spoke with him about the importance of Black History Month and the inspiration he has received working on the front line of the COVID-19 pandemic. Francis Almanor is many things: a Haitian American, husband, father, and a former U.S. serviceman.
If they need more oxygen.
He now works on the front line of the COVID-19 pandemic as a respiratory therapist with Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist.
We are literally at the front line because we are literally helping with intubation, put the patient on a ventilator, literally helping them breathe.
Almanor says the past 2 years have been tough, both personally and professionally. He lost both his parents to COVID-19 early in the pandemic, before the rollout of vaccines.
The general public, they don't see what the healthcare providers see on a daily basis. My feeling is if they have seen what we see on a daily basis, they would try to protect themselves, they would try to get the vaccine.
Almanor has worked at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist for almost 20 years and currently manages 53 respiratory therapists at the hospital. Along with his faith, he credits the leadership of Black figures like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Toussaint Louverture for creating opportunities for him to do the work that he does today.
Starting as a respiratory therapist, become a supervisor, and then getting a leadership position. So it's all the work that the previous leader, they have done to pave the way for myself.
This year's theme for Black History Month is health and wellness, a topic Almanor says he promotes in his work daily.
Community of color are affected differently with different health issues. So it's very important that we emphasize and recognize the issue that affect minority.
As the pandemic rages on, his message to everyone, no matter their background.
If you have an opportunity to get the vaccine, get it. It will be beneficial to you and to your family.
Almanor shared what Black History Month means to him, and I asked you on Facebook, what does Black History Month mean to you? We'll look at what you had to say in the next half hour.
So he had 50, he's over a staff of 53 people, is that what he said?
Yes, respiratory
And
therapists.
It's interesting to me to hear, because a respiratory therapist, that's been most of what COVID was, especially in the beginning, right? And what he's seen probably motivates him not only as a healthcare professional, but just as a human being to say, you got to get vaccinated.
Absolutely. He says they're more likely to get exposed to this virus because they're there putting the patient on the ventilator. So it's really been a chaotic time for him.
And hard personally too, I'm sure, with his parents and everything. How is he handling all of that?
Well, you know, he lost both of his parents very early on in the pandemic, and it's been tough, as it would for anyone or many people who did lose a loved one, but that's why he's so passionate about this and talking about the importance of getting vaccinated. I also liked, in light of Black History Month, that correlation between the two in health, because the theme is health and wellness, and it just brings up many topics about access to healthcare, good access to healthcare for people of color, and that people of color are more likely to get certain diseases like heart disease or even diabetes and things of that nature, and just bringing that topic to the forefront.
And you know he has to feel a sense of responsibility as a person of color to make sure that that's taken care of. You know?
And to inspire other people to think about being a respiratory therapist. He says there is a great need for them. There's not a lot of them out there right now, and especially as this pandemic rages on, they're very much needed.
I think one thing that stood out to me, what he said, was talking about how if people saw what we see every day, then they would want to protect themselves.
He talked about that. He talked about misinformation and seeing people downplay it on social media and different things like, oh, it's just a cold. But he was like, if you saw what I had to see every day, literally trying to help people breathe, you would definitely think differently.
Oh, such a helpless feeling too when you're with someone that's going through a struggle like that and there's nothing you can do, you know, just, I know he's seen a lot. All right, good, nice story.
Great story.
Yeah, really nice job. We're coming right back, stay there.
On our stream.
Hey,
I see it.
Tim.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hey,
friends.
happy Friday Eve. Friday
It's
Junior.
my Friday.
Oh.
It is Stacy's Friday.
So what do you plan to do on your day off, Miss Stacy
As little
Spice?
as
Well,
possible.
So my husband's on a bachelor trip. One of his best friends is getting married this summer. So he is on his way to Phoenix. So my mother
wow.
flew here. She got here right before all of the sleet and ice hit Arkansas. So she made
Oh
it
my
just in
gosh.
time. So I'll be spending the day with her in Baylor.
Nice,
Aw,
that's perfect.
I love that. I love that your mom was able to just come in and give you an extra hand.
Yep.
I know, I was like, as soon as I found out the bachelor party was happening and Jake was leaving, I was like, Mom, you have to come that weekend.
Aw.
Because, like, I'm scared. This will be the first time he's gone for
an
an extended
extended,
period of time.
All girls
Matter.
weekend. Y'all could do each
That's
other's
right.
nails.
Oh, I need to get my nails done.
You can dress Baylor up in different outfits, have
Now
a little
that would be-
fashion
I mean, I
show.
do that every day.
I know what you're going to do. You're going to be like, Mom, can you just watch her for a little bit so I can sleep?
I will go and nap.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Gonna
the
be
most
so well.
valuable thing ever.
What are you all doing this weekend?
What am I doing this weekend?
I don't really know yet. My birthday is on Sunday.
What? This
Yes,
Sunday?
This Sunday.
How did I have the wrong weekend? I had
Sorry.
next weekend.
Nah,
okay.
it's
Now
on
I
Sunday.
know.
So if y'all bring
Can
me
I
a
say
cake,
That's
Monday
right.
is the day.
Can I say the age?
Yeah,
No.
you can
The
say it.
big 30.
Yes, 30, flirty, and thriving.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what my sister used to say? She said when she turned 30, she felt like the business world treated her differently.
Oh,
Really?
no, I feel like I gained a lot more respect.
Yeah.
when
Well,
I turned
everybody
30 and
thinks
became
that.
a mom.
Everyone thinks I'm like 24 though. Like
Yeah,
they're shocked
that's
when I
not a
tell them
bad thing.
how old I am.
That's same with me too. People never think that I'm 30. I'll take it.
You guys, yeah, exactly. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Throughout the pandemic, the housing market has had its ups and downs. A great time for sellers and not so easy for buyers. But there's another problem arising, making inventory even lower. Melissa Greer is a realtor and broker and says companies are coming in, some local, some national, and buying homes in cash, sight unseen, and thousands of dollars over the asking price. She said she recently listed a home and the company Open Door called within 10 minutes, offering $30,000 over asking price in cash. Sounds great for the seller, right? Well, sometimes. These companies aren't putting deposits down and are turning those homes into rentals. Greer says this changes neighborhood dynamics and it's really hurting those first-time home buyers. In the past 6 months, Greer says these companies have had nearly 40 closings and 80% were above asking price, only adding pressure to an already challenging market, especially when it comes to renting.
If someone comes in and they want to rent, that's an unbelievably challenging thing to find someone a house to rent right now that's reasonable, because there's so many people who can't find a house to buy that they're renting.
She also tells me interest rates have started rising in just the past 2 weeks, but she doesn't think that this will make a huge impact on payments because the inventory is so low and people are used to paying above asking price. Greer believes by spring, things will really start looking up.
I've always said, if it's meant to be your house, it will work out.
And she actually told me that when I bought my first home here in Greensboro. And her best advice is to find a good realtor and broker that knows the area to help guide you through these crazy times. I mean, guys, we've seen it. It's just been wild.
It has.
Houses up for sale everywhere and they go so quickly. But hearing about these companies coming in, buying these homes for 30 grand over the asking price.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
wild.
now we're seeing some of my friends who, now that their kids are starting to get older and leave and they're thinking about selling, they said it's a bidding war now instead of,
yes.
like in California, it's always like that, but we never had that here. Now people are going, no, I'll give you this, oh, I'll give you this. And you just wait it out until it gets to a level if they go that far. The other thing, I did speak with a realtor friend of mine who said they think things will come down a little bit. The house value will drop a little bit, but it will never go back to what it was before, which if you already own a house is great. But if you're looking to buy a house, that makes it a little tougher.
Makes it tougher. I mean, it's just an amazing time for homeowners at this time that want to sell,
Yep.
but tough for the people who want to buy, because it's like as soon as you see it on the list and you want it, it's like you have to grab it really quickly.
Oh, I mean, it's just crazy. Some of our friends here in town, it took them months to get a house because
That's right.
they kept getting beat out by other buyers that wanted it, and it was just like, oh well, I'm going to put this much money over the asking price.
And renting
I'm going to put this much money.
is almost the same.
The same thing.
That's what she was saying. Rent
Yeah.
prices have gone up everywhere. Apartments have long lists of people
Yep.
waiting, so it's just.
We have to wait till spring. Hopefully Melissa's right, because we
yes.
need to bring it down just a little
Yeah.
smidge there. All right, we're coming back. Stay there.
Today on U-Day, he was the first African American to serve on the Supreme Court. Coach Lamont introduces us to Judge Thurgood Marshall, who reminds us of the power of hard work.
The Honorable Judge Thurgood Marshall once said this: "A person can make what they want of themselves if they truly believe that they must be ready for hard work and many heartbreaks." So many believe that there is no price to pay for success. There's always a price to pay, and nothing in life will ever come easy. There will be long days, long nights, tears shed and heartbreak, and those moments of sacrifice. There will be times you find yourself clawing out of the ditches of despair. But after struggle ends, then comes reward. How can you ever lose when you have winning on the inside of you? If you simply believe that you can, and when what you believe manifests only into greatness, then what you desire, you can celebrate it. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best U-Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. When a nice cold milk meets.
The Weaver evacuation site, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's been a long 4 days for families within the 1 mile radius of the Weaver evacuation.
Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is our nap mic on, Jalen?
Nah, it's off.
No, Jalen.
I don't even have it on.
Jalen says no. It might just be because we're by the road. It's really loud.
Good afternoon. I'm Stacey Spivey with Eric Chilton and Lauren Coleman.
We're going to go ahead and get into our top story today, the effort to fight the Weaver fertilizer plant fire. Officials say the threat of explosion has significantly lowered. This is helmet camera video showing a team of firefighters entering the site today. Enough ammonium nitrate has burned off for crews to start cooling operations. Firefighters were able to get onto a rail car yesterday loaded with ammonium nitrate and found that no heat impacted the chemicals on board. The rail car is not susceptible to a chemical reaction at this time. Fire Chief Mayo said today's rain has been helpful, but it's also caused some setbacks.
Some drawbacks to the rain are it does create additional runoff. The positive to that is it is also diluting that runoff. A negative is that rain is generally causing the smoke just the atmospheric conditions associated with this rain system are causing the smoke to lay, the products of combustion to lie close to the ground, so that's causing some visibility issues. And then, the other negative is we have firefighters on site right now working in a 40-degree range, which is even in this gear is pretty miserable.
One thing officials said today, they're not sure when people will be able to return to their homes. More than 6,500 people were evacuated within a 1-mile radius of the plant.
Our team has been in touch with families and businesses forced to evacuate because of this fire. WFMY News 2's Avery Powell and Marissa Tanzino both joining us live.
Avery, starting with you, you spoke with several families about their evacuations.
Yeah, Lauren, it's been a long 4 days for families within that 1-mile radius of the Weaver Fertilizer plant. They can still come here to the Red Cross evacuation site, the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, but some of them, especially those with young children, have chosen to stay in hotels or even sleep in their cars. Dawn Kelly decided to go to her family, her mother's house in Winston-Salem. She lives close to the plant. She, her husband, and 2 kids left Monday night.
Of course, stressed out about our safety. She wanted us to be here and be safe, and very thankful because a lot of people don't have that. Like, we just moved here from Michigan 3 years ago because we had family here, but people who live here who don't have family, you're always wanting to make sure everybody's taken care of and people have places to go in situations like this.
The Brown family and their 6 children slept in their cars Monday night. They said they didn't want to be inside the shelter around other people during the pandemic, but now they're at a local hotel, thanks to the organizing efforts of Carissa Joins and her husband, who've now helped to get 40 people into hotel rooms.
It's just been really truly a blessing, the kindness of our fellow neighbors. They just came and just decided to help, to go above and beyond, just to make sure we was comfortable.
City Lights Ministry also delivered supplies to those hotels today. That couple who is helping families get into a hotel said they want to provide more comfort for them rather than at an evacuation site, especially those with disabilities.
Thank you, Avery. North Hills Elementary School, located within that evacuation zone, will remain closed tomorrow. Students will learn remotely or they can learn in person at the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools Education Building. If you'd like to send your student, the Education Building is located on Bethania Station Road. Wake Forest University canceled classes for the rest of the week. The campus is not in the evacuation zone, but some of the off-campus housing is. Smoking conditions continue to be seen from the campus as well.
And here is a look again at that 1-mile evacuation zone. It not only includes thousands of people, but businesses as well. Now they're wondering what's next. WFMY News 2's Marissa Tanzino spoke with a small business owner who says she feels like her livelihood is on the line. Marissa?
Well, Stacey, it has been a long 2 days for some of these small business owners who haven't had any profit coming in because life within that 1-mile evacuation zone has been brought to a halt because of this fire. Now, Susie Bennett is one of those small business owners. She has a t-shirt print shop on North Point Boulevard, which is less than half a mile from the Weaver Fertilizer fire. She says they went back to the shop on Tuesday to get their cats out that stay there, and they haven't been back since. When they returned for that brief amount of time, Bennett said they could smell the strong odor from the fire on their products inside the business and the smoky haze that took over the area. Bennett says she has to make sure her employee gets paid, and she has to make payroll tonight, even though they haven't been able to get to work for days.
It has the potential to cripple our small business. It's been one thing after another for 2 or 3 years now, and we were really thinking every week you enter the building and you're like, this is going to be a good week and we're going to have this, and it was perfectly fine. But on Tuesday morning, 36 hours is what we were told, and we had no idea that it would be extended.
Well, these small businesses have had years of uncertainty on their hands with this pandemic that's been happening. Now that's only been made worse with this fire, with no clear answer on when they'll be able to return.
Marissa, thank you. Officials still stress the danger this fire poses, even though the threat of explosion has diminished. Leaders have urged residents to evacuate if they're within that 1 mile radius, saying they've exhausted their resources trying to warn people to get out. If you are within that 1 mile zone, you're urged to leave your home and get to safety.
The Forsyth County Department of Public Health and other environmental agencies are monitoring water quality from Monarchis Creek and the downstream at Mill and Muddy Creeks. Runoff from the fire site may have impacted waterways, but officials say the continuous rain is also washing away that same runoff it's causing. A recreational water advisory is in place. This means people should avoid swimming, wading, or fishing in Muddy Creek. Don't come in contact with the water or dirt in the area. If you do, wash the area with soap and water. And if you're concerned about exposure, you can call your doctor or vet if a pet is exposed.
Well, and when you look at this map, we're showing you a temperature map now. Guess where the cold front is? Doesn't take a lot to figure that out, does it? Look at this definite line. Raleigh's 69 degrees while we're at 52, Boone at 50. But look east, it's 73 degrees in Charleston right now, 61 in Myrtle Beach, 69 in Wilmington, but 52 in Charlotte. So a definite dividing line here from where that cold front is starting to move across the area. Tonight's lows are going to be extremely mild, though 58, rain likely. Winds could pick up tonight and tomorrow. You're looking at south winds 10 to 15. That's why we're so mild, and gusting up to 30 miles per hour. 62 for that high tomorrow, with more of this rain moving across the area. We see isolated pockets of heavier showers a little bit right now in the southwestern corner of Forsyth County, just to the north of Lexington, so at the Davidson-Forsyth County line. We might get a little break, this lull in the action right here, but then heavier showers right back behind that. Luckily, we are not on the cold side of all this where we see all that snow everywhere from St. Louis to Cincinnati and points up north and east as this huge system continues to move across the area. Here's what it looks like with our futurecast. You can see the fronts right over the top of us tomorrow morning as you drive into work, and then that second low will move by midday. We clear out and cool down after that. 7-day forecast: after an 80% chance of rain tomorrow, we are breezy and sunny but cold for Saturday. Sunday, highs in the 40s, lows in the 20s. Same story Monday with a 30% chance of a shower, and then sunny and a gradual warming trend back to normal for us, low 50s for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Did you hear or feel a big boom in Reedsville around 9:45 last night? Rockingham County EMS said a propane tank blew up at a scrapyard. No one was hurt, but for people in the area, it certainly sounded major.
Guilford County COVID numbers are really improving this week. Hospitalizations have plummeted in recent days. Right now, there are 193 COVID patients in county hospitals. It's actually 35 fewer than yesterday and a major improvement from last week. Consider this: a week ago today, the county recorded an all-time high of 313 patients. Today's number is 120 fewer than that. We're now at levels where we were seeing the first week of the new year a month ago. These gaps that you see here on this chart show weekends and holidays when the county doesn't report this data.
Tonight, Guilford County leaders will discuss the mask policy currently in place to combat COVID-19. It took effect a couple of weeks ago and is set to expire February 27th. Improved COVID hospitalization numbers will be one factor Guilford County commissioners discuss tonight as they vote on whether to keep the mask mandate in place. That meeting begins at 5:30 tonight, and we will keep you updated on what comes out.
Big things are happening in Summerfield. Leaders revealed plans for new property developments there. The Villages of Summerfield Farms will contain 11 villages on a total of 973 acres of land. There will be a commons area, conservation, and landscape areas. The villages will also have internal trails and protected bike paths, greenways. And don't worry, leaders want to keep Mother Nature intact and will have trees lining the streets. The development will take 20 years or more to complete. David Couch and partners will submit a development application to the town of Summerfield for these plans in the next few days.
The Triad has some big plans to boost the economy. Last month, Piedmont Triad Airport landed Boone Supersonic. The jet maker is investing $500 million into the Triad for a manufacturing facility. It will create more than 1,700 new jobs. Hiring is expected to start next year. Then remember, last December, Toyota announced it would be building its first battery manufacturing plant in North America at the Greensboro Randolph mega site. The $1 billion investment is also bringing 1,700 jobs.
You know when you're trying to do something online and you just keep hitting the submit button, right? You just keep hitting it refresh, hoping that something will finally work. Well, today, it looks like it's working. I want you to check this out. When tax filing opened in January, a lot of folks got a jump start, except this was the message they got about their North Carolina taxes, that the software just wasn't ready yet and you couldn't file with the state. It just would simply not go through. Well, this morning, one of your fellow viewers messaged us and said, hey, update, after trying every day to file those state taxes, I was finally able to file them today. No more errors, stating NC issues, just wanted to let you know. Thanks again. And all I can say about that is I keyed into what this woman said. She tried every single day to file taxes. I am sure we have all felt that, right? The refresh button?
Yeah, it's
Super
just frustrating. You're like, you're waiting for it to say success.
But also good for her for doing this all so early.
Oh yeah, okay. So I talked to a tax expert last week about this, how a lot of the tax software people were just using were not updated, right? And so that means that a lot of states made changes. TurboTax, TaxSlayer, then had to make changes to their software and everything. I know you talked to them, didn't you?
Yes, I did last week. Yes.
Okay, so I remember this as well. Okay. Hey, Eric, do you remember hearing about the North Carolina returns being delayed?
I do. It was, yeah, so earlier I remember hearing that, okay, the returns are going to be delayed, but I didn't understand. I was thinking, well, but you could still file, right?
Yes, so you could still file, it just wasn't gonna go anywhere. And they still are just kind of sitting there because the software allowed you to file, but it doesn't allow you to actually make it happen, delay upon delay. So North Carolina's Department of Revenue won't process returns until mid-February. So while your return was accepted, folks, it is going to be looked at when? Mid-February. What is the holdup? State budget was approved late and includes several tax changes. And here's the biggie, e-file. It is your best chance of getting your refund quicker once the processing begins.
Just
Hey,
one of
everyone.
them things. All right.
Oh, I see, Judy, you're in Roanoke, Virginia. That is where my husband's
Where
from.
Bay is from.
And also our producer, Tasha, well, she just commented. That's where Tasha and I first met. We worked together in Roanoke. It's a very pretty city.
It worked.
All right. I need to look at this.
Tanya and I discussing the teleprompter. You know what's so funny is that we still get messages on our Facebook page and people go, your mics are on. We don't think you know
My
that
mom,
your mics
the
are
first
still
time
on."
she listened to the live stream, she texted me and she was like, somebody's mic is on. Let them know. And I was like, that's
That's what we do.
that's what we do. She was like so nervous.
But you know, you think about it.
Someone was
we're
going to
the
say
only
something they
show-
shouldn't say.
We're the only show that does that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
understand.
I like it because people really, they'll get to really see our true selves.
Yes.
No filter.
Well, a little.
A tiny little bit of filter.
I can't be my completely
Whoa.
normal self.
Hello.
Whoa, Brad, what are you doing? Whoa. You remember
Hello.
the shrunken little weatherman?
Oh, this isn't in the right spot. I should probably move it. We are talking about social media.
Melita says
What
we
is
love it
your
when you live
favorite?
during the breaks.
It's fun. I mean, and after GMS, we would chat with people ish, kind of, about
Yeah.
the topics, but it usually wasn't just like off the cuff like this.
I like this.
I do too.
We used to try to, I think we should go back to where
Facebook's parent company, Meta, dropped on the stock market Wednesday. CEO Mark Zuckerberg pointed the blame at another company, TikTok. Yeah, Zuckerberg said online users are changing the way they engage with content. He added that Reels, short-length videos on Facebook and Instagram, have grown online as a way to compete with TikTok. So I asked you on my Facebook page which social media apps you use the most. Dawn says she's on TikTok every day. For Tracy, it's Facebook and Instagram. Mr. Moore says he's on Snapchat mostly. Phil says Facebook and Twitter, but not sure why, LOL. Facebook and Instagram for Freddie. Jaquita is on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Lynn says Facebook, and so does Nancy. A lot of people actually said Facebook. Denise says Facebook and Instagram. Bronny seems to be on all of them, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Jan is mostly on Facebook and TikTok. So most people, obviously because I posted on Facebook, said Facebook. I would say that I'm majority of the time on Instagram and TikTok, but obviously for work purposes, I'm on Facebook and Twitter during the workday.
Do you post on TikTok a lot or just go through TikTok?
No. TikTok
I don't
is just
either.
for me to scroll and
Me
laugh.
too.
Ghost viewer.
Yes.
TikTok voyeur.
Yes.
My son joked with me the other day. He said, you still on Facebook, Dad? I'm like, yes, I'm on Facebook. And he goes, otherwise known as parent.com.
Yes.
That's what he said.
Mom is always like, I saw it on the Facebook. I saw so-and-so posted this on Facebook.
The age of Facebook has steadily gone up from...
Well, that must be why stocks
have great uncles and aunts on there too. And a lot of them don't post a lot. They just look.
Yes. So
they just look like, I remember my pastor from back home, he was like, so you're really going to do this news thing? And I saw it on Facebook and I was like, I didn't even realize I was Facebook friends with him because he never posts.
Yeah, they're like ghosts.
Yeah.
You're right. They're Facebook ghosts.
Yeah. So it'll be
I'm on
interesting
Instagram,
to see what
Instagram for me too.
Yeah, what happens in the next 10 years or so. I mean, what that shift is going to be. Like, are people still going to be using Facebook?
There's going to be a creation of something else.
There will
TikTok
be.
now is
That's
going to
right.
be like model life next. I don't know. It's going to be something else.
Yeah,
because I remember when Twitter came out, I was like, I'm never getting one of those. And then I ended up getting one.
And
so,
now
Twitter's good for business, I think.
Yeah,
It's
now
good
it
for
is.
us,
Or
too.
like TV shows and stuff, I'll like put the
Live
hashtags and
tweet,
just see what other
yeah.
people are, what was your opinion on that episode?
My twin sons who are 19, I can text them and they won't answer forever. But if I were to snap them on Snapchat, it's like that. They live and die with Snap.
So I'm curious, what was the first social media that you guys had?
MySpace.
You had MySpace.
I used to spend
I forgot
hours
about
decorating my page, using all the URLs, making was it top 8 or top 10? The people that were in your
I
friends
wasn't
group.
allowed to have it.
I wasn't either. I used to sneak and I would delete my history.
Mom's watching?
I ended up getting caught. One of my sister's friends, I got spammed, and one of my sister's
They
friends,
told you.
because my sister's older than me, was talking to my mom, was like, yeah, Lauren is spammed. She's always posting Macy's ads on my MySpace page. And when your parents get quiet and look at you, when you get home.
Oh, yes.
You know you're getting the
And I was just like, shut your mouth. It got me in trouble.
I forgot about MySpace until just now. I guess it wasn't really social media, but the first time I remember like connecting with people online was AOL Instant Messenger. That
AIM.
was
AIM. I
lovely.
had one.
Yeah,
I was
AIM, yes.
Oh, your
Queen
name.
LC for life.
I was Royal Cheer Queen. We have a
You
a
remember
theme
that?
going.
Oh my gosh,
Queen
that's
LC
funny.
It was
for
a
life.
huge deal. Yeah.
We
That
can
is
talk
too
about this
funny.
on
I
and on
know.
and on. Were you a Neopets person?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll
I used
do
to
it
chat on there too.
Facebook in the commercial break. We'll keep talking about it. We'll be right back.
I had a computer in my room in the 4th grade, and I would be up at like 3 in the morning on Neopets because at certain times of the day you could get like points and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember one of my parents walked by my room and was like, "What are you doing up? Get off that computer."
Melita said MySpace was my first too.
So I wasn't allowed to have MySpace, but other people had Zanga, and so
Oh,
was
I
allowed to
had
have
one of those
Zanga.
too. That
I
was a
don't
little
remember that
blogger
one.
thing.
Yeah.
I
it was
created
basically
so
like
many
a
accounts because I would
blog.
forget my like login. I'd be like, I'm gonna be a blogger, and then like a few months later, I'm gonna be a blogger. So I had like, they're probably still floating out there.
What was the instant? Was it AIM that had the little flower? There was a green flower, and when you get a message, it'd go, "Uh-oh."
Maybe
and-
that was MSN or Bing or something.
Something. Yeah.
Wasn't there like an email?
Uh-oh.
I don't remember. I
Well,
just
I had an
remember-
AOL email, and I
look
used to
that
do the
up.
little chat rooms for kids in the message boards. I would stay on hours on those too.
Well, wasn't it AIM like the door sound would close and they logged off?
Yes.
I think
yes.
so. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing, to rush home like after school,
Yes,
be on
and then your
AIM.
phone would ring or
Yeah.
somebody would call and it would kick you off.
And then I remember when Skype and Uvu became a thing. I remember it being a
Oh,
snow day in
Uvu,
high
I
school.
forgot about
You could talk
that.
to like 20 people. We would just have a huge
ICQ,
Uvu
that's what
with
it was.
everyone at home
What is that?
talking.
ICQ was messaging. That was it right there.
I don't know that one.
And every time you got a message, it would go, uh-oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Kids these days will never know the
Never
struggles
know
we went
this.
through.
I told you when Tyler and Drew were like little, they're 11 and 9, 8 now, but they used to walk up to every screen and rub it with their finger because they thought everything was a touch screen. So like they barely know screens without
my
them being touch
gosh.
screens.
That's wild.
I know. They could play Angry Birds at 1
okay,
year
so think
old.
about I think in high school when the first iPhone came out. So like I'm trying to think of what the technology is going to be like when
Implanted
Baylor's in
chips.
high school.
We'll have
Like
chips
we'll just
implanted.
like call people on our hand, like,
Yes.
hey,
It'll
how
be
are
like
you?
built into a ring or a bracelet or something, and crazy.
It will literally be like that movie. What's that movie called?
Minority Report with,
No,
what's the plot?
it's a little robot.
Wally?
Wally.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Eva.
Eva.
I love Wally.
Wally.
Yeah, when everybody's heavy and floating around in these little
Yes.
things.
And they're all talking to each other, but they're like right next to each other, but they're talking on the screen.
Well, that happens now.
Yeah, that's literally coming true.
Uh-oh.
My uncle responded to my Facebook social.
Oh, Kimberly.
Throughout the month of February, WFMY is highlighting Black leaders who've made an impact in the Triad. I asked you on Facebook, what does Black History Month mean to you? Reagan Mitchell says, our history didn't start in 1619. Learn everything. Knowledge is power. Robert Daskey says, a time to understand and celebrate the great accomplishments that African Americans have given to our society and to point out the different success of people in African American history. Davis Orange wrote, to celebrate all the brave men and women who made it possible for me to live free in America and get a good education. Brittany Wall wrote, everything, where I've come from and where we're going. Henry Wood says, a life in comfort. And then Winfred Williams says, everything.
Question. What can I do as someone who is not Black during this month that
Well, that's a good
maybe,
question.
I don't know, like should I be learning something new? What should I be doing?
You should be learning something new. You should be asking good questions and reading. Reading is so vital and important because to me, Black history is American history.
It is.
This country was literally built on the backs of slaves. Black people have been a vital contribution to America. It is our history. So reading is really something I would say to do.
It's interesting, and you're exactly right, because I remember as I was getting older, and I mean, that's still in high school and college age, and I remember reading and would find out all the inventions that were created by people of color that I just knew the name and didn't know.
Like the traffic light.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know. See?
There's so much to know. You know, in school, of course, we learn about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, maybe
Right.
Nelson Mandela. But I double majored in African American Studies at the University of Virginia, and I learned so much taking those courses that I feel like it needs to really be, we need to learn it from a younger age.
Yes.
And I think it's important for parents to have conversations at home. I know my parents
It
made
is.
sure that we learned about our history. We went to Frederick Douglass's home when I was really young.
Oh, that's
My
cool.
parents had me read his book. So I think it's about reading and just getting that exposure.
You know, I've told you this before, but my father was born in Winston-Salem in 1926. He's of course passed on, but when we were little, he has, and I still have it, on vinyl, we had the I Have a Dream speech, and he played that for us. And I think for that time period, that was a big step for him to introduce that to us and teach us about Dr. King. I thought that was big.
And it's important to remember Black history is 365. We got to have these
That's right,
conversations
not just February.
outside of February. Well, we'll be right back. 2 Cents is next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you.
Made it
I
to
like
Phoenix.
short ones.
Oh, good. 11 hours later.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Apple one right now.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. Yep, just hold on a second.
We're on the same source. Give me a minute. Hello, can you hear me? Mic check 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. It's me, Melissa.
Hello, hello, hello. Crazy day, crazy weather.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California.
Andrew Carroll is a spokesperson for the company, and he says they are all heartbroken. While they work with employees, they're also working to
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I've been reflecting on the scary situation in Winston-Salem for the past couple of days. A huge fire that forced thousands from their homes with little warning. It's certainly been an uncertain few days. I've been trying to put myself in the shoes of the evacuees, wondering how I'd react, where I'd go, and what I'd take with me. Obviously, I'd first grab pets, medication, and important documents, but what comes next? What's your most prized possession that you just couldn't live without? I've been thinking about that this week. So many of the things we possess these days are digital and not at risk in a potential fire. But there are still those physical items that can't be replaced. For me, there are photo albums with lots of memories from my childhood and growing up. There are trophies for various career awards I've won. Then there's the box where I've kept every Christmas and birthday card over the years. Why? I have no idea. I just didn't have the heart to throw them out. Same goes for some of the ties in my closet. Ties I've worn for major sporting events, election days, big news interviews, job interviews, the list goes on. It's scary to think about losing everything except a few possessions. Maybe that's the lesson in this exercise. We might not realize all that we have and all that we've done until we take a good hard look at the everyday possessions that represent some of the highlights in our lives. It certainly helped me reflect and be grateful for the life I've lived so far. That's just my 2 cents, and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
I'm confident in those